the nearly 60 hostages released so far, only one has been an American citizen. That is a 4-year-old named Abigail Edan. The Washington Post is reporting that President Biden is facing backlash from several Muslim American leaders after saying that he doesn't believe Hamas is telling the truth about how many people are really dying right now, being held hostage. Biden reportedly apologized for the comments then, telling them he is disappointed in himself. He claimed he vowed to do better. Really. Joining me right now is Georgia Congressman Richard McCormick, a member of the House Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committees. He's also a member of the GOP Doctors Caucus. Congressman, am I reading this right? He's apologizing because he questions Hamas and whether or not they're lying to us? He's got to apologize to Hamas now?
He has a lot to apologize and to do, but it's mostly to the American public. His strategy going into this was wrong. It's backwards. It rewards bad behavior, just like he does with the border, just like he does with just about everything else. He does not have a real plan. His staff is running him in the wrong direction. He's not even supporting good policies that were from previous administrations. The Democratic Party in general has lost their way, especially in foreign policy.
So who's running the show here? I mean, does he know what's going on, or is he being directed by President Obama?
He definitely doesn't know what's going on. Whether he's being directed by Obama or some other staff members is really questionable. But if you look at his cognitive decline in the last 50 years, we've been able to literally real-time watch this guy in public life and the way he used to talk. He used to be very slick, very Clinton-esque, if you will. He no longer has that cognitive ability. He misinterprets questions. He misinterprets emotions. He doesn't have a strategy. He doesn't have any sort of education or an ability to interpret new data. This is something that, as an ER doctor, I would look at somebody like this and think they really need to be taken care of rather than trying to take care of an entire nation.
Well, thank you. You are a doctor and have the background to make such a statement. And in the face of all of this, by the way, we're all watching this, okay? We're watching him fall on steps. We're watching him misinterpret questions. But we're just the American people. How about our adversaries watching it and running rumshot over him like China? He has the nerve to attack our reporter. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson asked President Biden about the concerns that voters have about his age and mental capacity. Watch this exchange. It's unbelievable. Watch.
Mr. President, are you too old to be running for re-election?
Stupid.
Why is Donald Trump beating you in the latest poll? Mr. President, have you spoken with your family about not running for re-election?
All right, so he's ignoring Lucas, and yet he says to him, "Are you stupid, Congressman?" That's his answer. Are you stupid?
It reminds me of a third-grade argument I once witnessed. I just don't think that this guy has any ability to lead the nation right now. I think even Democrats realize that. I think they're really concerned. I think they're looking for a way out the back door. They're looking for somebody else to take his place, whether it be Newsom or anybody else, because they know he's going to get his butt whipped by Trump or anybody who wins the presidential nomination on the Republican side. That's been shown poll after poll after poll. It doesn't matter who he goes against. You could put a generic candidate against him. He's going to lose. He doesn't have the cognitive ability. He doesn't have the popularity. His Bidenomics is failing miserably. His foreign policy is failing miserably. His southern border is failing miserably. It's the absolute opposite of what any other president has done, including Obama.
Yeah, but this is really becoming an emergency, Congressman. I mean, look at what his policies are doing to this country. I don't think there's anybody, a Republican or Democrat, who can argue with the fact that all of our lives are much worse under President Biden in the last 2.5 years. Look at how the border has played out. Now we see that the head agent of the Tucson border sector deleted a social media post saying that his agents are going to stop posting border updates because of the migrant surge. So that's their answer, to just censor the information. The country is just getting, a surge from foreigners, and their answers is to come out with a post saying that we're going to stop telling you what's going on. Then the chief, John Modlin, apologized for the post. He's saying that it was hastily written, and his intention is to remain transparent. So he's backpedaling out of this. Modlin now says that the social media accounts will be temporarily reduced to maximize available staffing. He claims that all available personnel are now needed to address the unprecedented flow of illegal migrants, and that includes anybody working on social media. The Tucson border sector encountered more than 29,000 migrants in just 2 weeks, Congressman. You know, the Republicans tried to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. That failed. Your thoughts on what's going on as everybody, you know, contemplates Joe Biden's age and his mental capacity? Look what's happening to our country.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it has so much to do with his age, but the policy that so many Democrats have been reinforcing over time has been catastrophic to America's future. And we've only seen the tip of the iceberg right now. If you look at these sanctuary cities who said enough is enough, I'm talking about the most liberal of liberals are done with it because they realize once they have to suffer the consequences, this is real stuff, not just the financial, not just going to an ER and waiting behind hours of people who come here illegally, who you're going to have to pay for, not just because we have to figure out ways to feed them and house them and school them. And then you have more and more bursts with automatic citizenship. If we have to really look at the future, this is going to have a wave effect into the future that we have no idea. We don't know how many people are coming here from foreign countries that want to do us harm. We know they're trying to get here. We know we're approaching 2 million getaways. We don't even have an identification of who these people are. And then the 8 million people that come in here who are seeking sanctuary, which we have no real hope of getting rid of because this administration doesn't want to. They want to jade the future of this country. They want to be the king of the ashes. This is a big problem.
But what are you going to do about it? You're an elected official. What are we supposed to think, Congressman? Are you expecting a terrorist attack on this country soon?
I am. I don't know about soon, but the groundwork is being laid. If we look at 9/11 and how that was set up over years and years, if you think about all the people out of the 1.7 million that now have come across that we haven't even identified, you know that the people who are trying to get here and not be identified are bad people. A lot of them could be terrorists. They're setting the table for this future problem. I mean, look at what happened in Israel. Look what happened in other countries where you don't have control of your borders, where you have a large immigrant population who's been taught since they're young to hate you. This is setting us up for something catastrophic.
So let me get your take real quick before we go. What are your priorities in the House in the coming weeks? I've got a TD Cowen report this morning talking about Joe Biden's trip to Colorado this week. That's focused on the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, which doesn't reduce inflation at all, on the clean energy manufacturing and GOP oppositions to the money being spent. The government is now funded until January 19th. You got to focus on the year end with the $106 billion security supplemental request led by Ukraine, Israel, Gaza money, and the Mexico border policy. And then we want clarity around the Debt Deficit Commission. What's your priority right now, Congressman?
So you mentioned two things that kind of combine in my mind. I voted against the CR because I wanted something out of it, something America would support, something that would put the Senate back on the defense so they wouldn't give us an omnibus. I don't want to get stuck with that. We're having a hard time with the last few appropriations bill. I figured we could at least get H.R. 2, which is going to secure the border, which is going to help with this. This is a Democrat-created crisis of the southern border. We could have at least combined that. But right now we have to pass all of our appropriations bills, make sure that we're done before we get jammed with the Senate's omnibus before they head out and just leave us. I think we have a lot of reconciliation to do in the near future, and if we don't get it done by mid-January, we're in trouble. But I think this continued CR that was clean was a mistake. I told the speaker that. I know he's in a grace period, and I know he's trying really hard. He's a humble guy. But I think we have some real concerns not sticking up for ourselves.
All right, we will leave it there, Congressman. Good to see you this morning. Thanks very much, sir.